Picture this. Evening news flashing urgent headlines. The power blinks once and then goes out for the neighborhood, and the street outside that used to feel safe starts to fill with whispers and the sound of distant engines. You look at your family and realize half the things you thought would protect them are exactly what will put you on someone else's list. That's the urgency I'm talking about. Not to scare you, but to give you the clear, practical checklist you need before nightfall. Here's the promise. I'll walk you through the 7 mistakes I see again and again, what makes you a target, why these errors cost lives in a fast-break wartime collapse, and what to do about each one. This isn't theory. These are principles that work across cities and rural towns when WW3 triggers supply strains. Law enforcement gets stretched thin, and people's behavior splits into 2 kinds: desperate survivors and organized threats. Threats first, because understanding who you'll deal with changes everything. In an initial wartime outbreak, the patterns are predictable. There are 2 archetypes you must recognize: desperate opportunists and organized marauders. Desperate opportunists are people pushed to extremes, short-term, impulsive, often hungry or cold. They want food, fuel, medicine. They rarely come with long-term plans. They strike quickly and move on. They're more likely to feast on obvious targets: a house with lights on late at night, an outbuilding with generator hum, a yard stacked with visible supplies. Their danger is immediacy and numbers. In WW3 conditions, refugee flows and displaced populations increase their numbers, and desperation can make them unpredictable. Organized marauders are a different breed. Small groups that look like gangs or armed units with purpose. They scouted, they plan, they hit where the payoff is reliable. They watch for patterns, study routines, and test defenses. In a wartime scenario, these groups can be locally formed. Ex-military, criminal networks, opportunistic actors who exploit the breakdown of order. Their danger is intent and persistence. They will come back if they think the reward is worth the risk. Recognize the difference because your response shifts. Desperate groups are deterred by subtle measures. Reduce your attractiveness, harden visible cues, make your home an unattractive option. Organized groups need layered defenses, community coordination, and contingency plans that prioritize getting your family out over defending property. If this is hitting home, pause and download the printable WW3 Home Defense Checklist in the description, or subscribe now. There's a 1-page checklist you can pin to your fridge and use tonight. That's the only ask I'll make early. Stay with me for the rest. Now, the 7 mistakes. I'll name each, explain why it's deadly in a WW3 outbreak, and give practical, legal, and immediately actionable corrections. Mistake 1. Poor OPSEC. Telling too many people, oversharing, and making your supplies obvious. What makes this a mistake? Information is a weapon. If the whole block knows you have fuel, generators, or extra food, you've painted a target on your home. People talk, friends, co-workers, even casual acquaintances. In a wartime context, that chatter spreads fast and can reach people who will not hesitate to act on it. Social media posts, photos of stockpiles, visible pickup trucks loaded with gear, all of these are invitations. What to do instead? Tighten who knows what. Limit knowledge to the core household, and a very small, trusted circle if absolutely necessary. When you share plans with a neighbor for mutual aid, make it specific and limited. A watch schedule or a contingency signal, not a blow-by-blow inventory of your supplies. Keep your stores dispersed and hidden. Conceptually, a few days' consumables accessible, the bulk of longer-term supplies secured and not visible. Avoid broadcasting supply hauls or showing off preparedness on social media. Blend your exterior appearance with the surrounding environment. Don't advertise solar panels, big fuel tanks, or obvious caches. Secrecy isn't hoarding, it's protecting lives. Mini hook. If your plan depends on telling 3 people, it's already broken. Mistake 2. Conspicuous consumption. Showing wealth or readiness in plain sight. This is closely tied to OPSEC but worth its own call-out because visual cues are the fastest recruiter of trouble. A generator running in the backyard at dusk, a bright porch light, A stack of bottled water by the door. These are simple signals. During WW3 triggered blackouts and shortages, such cues say, "We have more than you do," and desperate or organized actors follow that sign. What to do instead? Practice darkness discipline and low-profile logistics. If you must run a generator, do it in short, quiet bursts away from visible lines of sight, or use muffling and sound discipline, conceptually, not a technical manual. Break up supply visibility. Keep some food in discreet, everyday containers. Put heavier or longer-term supplies in places the casual observer won't check. Use decoys, small, easily replaceable items placed where a looter might look first, while keeping the essentials secure. Make your home look ordinary, even worn. Appearance matters. A house that looks like everyone else's is less likely to be plundered. Mistake 3. Weak entry points, doors, frames, and windows left vulnerable. This is one of the most common and deadly failures. Most unauthorized entries don't defeat high-tech locks. They exploit weak frames, poorly installed doors, or unsecured windows. When urban unrest or organized groups come calling, they look for the path of least resistance. A reinforced front door with a flimsy frame is still easy to defeat because the load goes into the frame. What to do instead? Prioritize your weakest links, starting with the door-to-frame connection and windows. Think in terms of layers: exterior door, frame, locks, inner barrier. Reinforce the frame and the way a door bears the load. Install locks and hardware that work with the frame rather than rely solely on the lock mechanism. For windows, consider options that keep glass from being a clean entry, curtains and coverings that prevent seeing inside, and film or polycarbonate panels that delay forced entry. Use temporary interior barriers that delay an intruder and create time to respond or exit. All of this is pragmatic, conceptual fortification. No blueprints, no illegal instructions, just prioritizing where your defenses buy you time. Mini hook. Mistake number 3 is the one that bites most people. It's invisible until it's too late. Mistake 4. Improper barricades and blocking exits. A false sense of security with deadly consequences. We've all seen dramatic images of doors braced with furniture. In the heat of an emergency, people instinctively pile things up and feel safer. But poorly planned barricades can trap you inside, block emergency escape routes, or create hazards like collapsed furniture that injure rather than protect. Barricades that anchor to soft materials or that can be easily moved by an attacker aren't deterrents. They're theater. What to do instead? Barricades must be part of a plan that includes escape options and communication. Design layered interior defenses, simple furniture-based obstacles that slow movement, combined with salvageable controlled barriers that can be removed quickly to create an escape path. Use doors and interior zones to funnel movement into areas with clear exits. Think about weight, stability, and the ability for family members to move them under stress. Practice the movement. Never create a setup that relies on deadly traps or on preventing anyone, family, pets, or first responders, from entering. Your goal is delay and decision time, not a lethal ambush. Mistake 5. Depending on weapons without training, legal awareness, and safe storage. Weapons are tools, not solutions. I will not minimize their role in self-defense, but I will insist on strict boundaries. Treat firearms and other defensive tools with respect. Relying on a weapon you don't know how to operate or maintain is more dangerous than not having one. In a wartime outbreak, the temptation is to arm up and act like a soldier. That's both legally perilous and often counterproductive. What to do instead? If you choose to own defensive weapons, commit to accredited training from certified instructors, learn safe storage practices, and maintain your equipment properly. Understand your local laws about possession, use, and defensive force. Those laws don't vanish in a crisis. Train in scenario-based judgment. When to avoid, when to warn, when to deter, and only as a last resort when life is at imminent risk. Practice low-stress drills that focus on decision-making under pressure, not just marksmanship. Consider non-lethal options, pepper spray, tasers, baton-style tools, and improvised options that buy time without permanent escalation. Emphasize de-escalation skills above all. The person who knows when not to use force has saved more lives than the one who fires first. Mini hook. You want to make sure your actions are legal, and your function is protective, not retaliatory. Mistake 6. Engaging when avoidance and deception can save lives. One of the hardest shifts for people is to move from a defend-at-all-costs mindset to a preserve-life-first approach. Confrontation often escalates. In the early hours of a wartime collapse, smart defense is about avoidance, deception, and delay. If you can leave, leave. If you can make an attacker assume the house is not worth the effort, do so. Here's the decision ladder I teach. Avoid, deceive, delay, defend, withdraw. Avoid by staying hidden and moving before a threat closes. Deceive with decoy caches, false signals, and appearances that sell the story you want an observer to believe. Delay with barriers and layered obstacles that buy time. Defend as a last resort with trained individuals in secure positions. Withdraw when the situation favors escape over fighting. Preserving life is primary. Role-play scenario. A group approaches your street at night. You have minutes to enact your plan. First, assume the unknown. In wartime, some things are indefinido. Specifics about which groups will be where or how long martial law might last. Treat those variables as unknown and plan for resilience. Immediate steps in concept. Reduce light and noise. Make the house visually and audibly boring. Activate non-personnel deterrence, a recorded dog bark, a timed sound, or mechanical noise that suggests neighbors are awake or that routine surveillance is active. Use decoy cues. Leave an outward cache that is tempting but not essential, while moving real supplies to a more secure location. Monitor from concealed positions, windows covered but with observation points, and communicate with your small, trusted network. If a breach seems imminent, implement your barricade-to-funnel sequence so that any forced entry puts attackers into predictable choke points where lack of surprise and environment reduce their advantage. If you have to defend, use cover and distance. High ground in a house means stairwells or second-story positions that let you see the approaches without being silhouetted. If withdrawal is the safer option, know the route and timing, pre-arranged with trusted neighbors or a rally point. This is not an operational manual. It's a high-level flow to follow and practice until it becomes instinct. Mistake 7. Neglecting community defense and communications. In wartime, isolated households are vulnerable. Communities that coordinate watch rotations, share resources, and have simple, trusted communication protocols survive longer and with fewer casualties. But poor selection of members, sloppy communications, or too many cooks ruins coordination. Trust is not a feeling, it's verification over time. What to do instead? Form a small, reliable core team, 5 to 10 people depending on the neighborhood, with clear roles, lookouts, medics, or the person with first aid training, logistics, who handles food distribution, and liaisons, who communicates externally. Rotate responsibilities so no single person burns out. Use simple redundancy. If radios are an option, treat them as one tool among others. Cell phones may fail in a blackout or be monitored, so have agreed-upon visual signals and contingency meeting points. Keep communications brief, coded with agreed phrases for safety, and only share detailed operational info on a need-to-know basis. Pool resources where it makes sense. Shared fuel reserves or bulk food can reduce vulnerability, but make sure legal ownership and accountability are clear. Establish perimeter strategies that do not rely on lethal force, lighting patterns, motion alarms with local alerts, and presence rotations that create unpredictable active times. Practice drills together. Walking through a blackout plan or an evacuation route builds muscle memory and trust. Mini hook. A single trusted neighbor can double your situational awareness. A network multiplies it. Climax. A rapid response checklist to run tonight if WW3 looks imminent. This is where everything comes together. Run this ordered set of actions now to materially reduce your immediate risk. These are conceptual, fast, and designed to be implemented without special tools. 1. Inventory and prioritize. Identify your essentials. Water and access to safe drinking, medications, means to cook, and a go bag for each person with identification and minimal cash. Don't list them publicly. 2. OPSEC sweep. Remove visible signals of abundance. Cover stacks of supplies, put away fuel cans, darken or diffuse exterior lights. Walk your perimeter and identify what an observer could see. 3. Secure primary entry points. Ensure doors close fully and windows are covered. Use interior furniture and temporary barriers to create layered delay corridors. Make sure everyone in the household knows how to operate these measures quickly. 4. Silent deterrence. Prepare non-confrontational alerts, recorded sounds, lights on a timer to create illusion of occupancy, or motion-activated lights that can be remotely controlled. Again, keep this non-lethal. 5. Designate safe rooms and escape routes. Identify one room that can serve as a temporary control point with a secondary egress. Your plan must include the ability for the family to move and get out if necessary. 6. Assign roles and rehearse. Who watches the street? Who maintains comms? Who retrieves the go bags? Practice once in daylight and once in low-light conditions. 7. Community check. Contact your trusted neighbors and confirm roles. Agree on a simple daily check-in signal and a rally point if separation occurs. 8. Legal and medical readiness. Have a list of local laws and emergency resources. Confirm that medicines and medical supplies are accessible and that someone in the group knows basic trauma care. 9. After-action plan. If an incident occurs, plan how to account for everyone, rotate watches and redistribute supplies if necessary. Post-event, change OPSEC indicators. Don't keep the same routines. These steps are immediate and practical. Execute them tonight and refine them tomorrow. After the event, vigilance and adaptability. No plan survives contact unchanged. After a breach or near miss, you must reassess. Rotate caches, change routines, and watch for patterns. If your neighborhood got hit once, it will be watched again. Keep mental health in the foreground. Prolonged crises erode judgment and interpersonal bonds. Create scheduled decompression time, ration tasks, and maintain morale. Keep records of what worked and what didn't. Those notes are invaluable for improving the plan. A few more important guardrails and reminders before we close. First, comply with local law. Preparation is a responsibility, not a license to cross legal or ethical lines. Use certified training for anything involving force. If you own defensive tools, store them safely and legally. If someone in your household has a firearm, ensure secure storage to prevent accidents or impulsive use. This is about protecting life, not escalating violence. Second, avoid glorifying confrontation. The win is when your family is safe and intact, not when a photo shows a barricade and a weapon. Prioritize exit routes and rescue over the bravado of a holdout. Third, maintain OPSEC even within your community. Trust is crucial, but keep detailed inventories to the smallest circle. The fewer people who know the specifics, the safer you are. Fourth, plan for indefinido scenarios. Specifics of wartime fallout, nuclear, radiological, or cyber effects may be uncertain and vary dramatically. Treat those aspects as unknown, indefinido, and prepare general resilience measures that help across a range of scenarios. Water purification options, alternate power strategies, and mental resilience. Don't chase unverified technical fixes. Finally, rehearse until movement becomes instinct. Plans that live in a notebook don't help at 2 a.m. Run realistic but safe drills so every family member knows what to do without needing a command. One last concrete walkthrough. Imagine a group arrives at the end of your street after dusk. Your early actions buy time. The house is dark, a recorded dog bark plays intermittently, and a small distracting cache sits in a visible corner while essentials are moved to a secured interior closet. Your lookout alerts by a pre-arranged signal to the watch rotation. You and the family move to the safe room. A member with basic medical training watches the street from a concealed vantage, while another checks the escape route. The attackers test the door and find the frame gives them trouble. After a short time, they move on to an easier target. You've avoided a confrontation and preserved lives. If instead the group breaks through, your delay and funnel scheme gives you time to withdraw through a secondary exit to a prearranged rendezvous with trusted neighbors. None of this relies on illegal or lethal measures. It relies on planning, discipline, and community. We bring this home with 3 commitments: conceal, fortify, and coordinate. Conceal your intentions and your supplies. Fortify the obvious weaknesses first. Coordinate with a small circle you can trust. If you want the printable WW3 home defense checklist I mentioned, 1-page, instant, with tonight's action items, grab the link in the description. It's the quickest way to turn this into action. I'll leave you with this. Preparation isn't panic. It's presence of mind. It's the quiet work done in daylight so you can choose safety at night. Start tonight. Tighten OPSEC, check your doors and windows, pick a safe room, and talk to one trusted neighbor. Those steps save lives. When you're ready for the next level, detailed walkthroughs on safe fortifications, legal training resources, and vetted community building guides, join our community and playlist through the link at the end. We vet every resource we share, and we focus on lawful, ethical, life-preserving strategies. You don't have to be a hero. You just have to be prepared, calm, and deliberate. If WW3 begins tomorrow, the smartest action is the one that keeps your family breathing and your conscience clear. Take that step tonight.